After the first teaching, something began to move, quietly at first, almost invisibly. A few listened, a few understood, a few felt the shift inside themselves. But most of the world did not change, not immediately. The villages remained the same. The routines continued. Power structures stayed intact. And Siddhartha, now known as the Buddha, began to understand something essential. Awakening does not guarantee acceptance. Truth does not spread because it is true. It spreads only when minds are ready to see. As word of his teaching traveled, reactions followed. Curiosity, doubt, admiration, suspicion. Some came hoping for miracles, others expected rituals. Many wanted comfort, not clarity. And when they heard him speak of responsibility, of craving, of letting go, their interest faded. This was not the kind of wisdom that made life easier at first. It made it honest, and honesty is rarely welcome. Some accused him of abandoning tradition. Others said he was dangerous. If people stop clinging, they whispered, what happens to order? Kings rely on desire. Merchants rely on craving. Priests rely on fear. A path that dissolves attachment threatens more than belief. It threatens systems. And so resistance appeared, not always loudly, often quietly, through dismissal, through mockery, through indifference. The Buddha noticed this without bitterness. He did not argue. He did not defend himself. He observed, just as he had once observed hunger, fear, pain. Rejection too was a condition, something arising, something passing. Still, he learned that teaching was not the same as seeing. What had taken him years of searching could not be transmitted in words alone. Some heard only concepts. Others twisted the teaching to fit their desires. A few even used it to feel superior. This troubled him more than rejection. One evening after a long day of teaching, the Buddha sat alone. The fire had burned low. The sounds of the forest surrounded him. He reflected not on doubt, but on responsibility. If the Dharma was to survive, it could not depend on charisma. It could not rely on admiration. It needed grounding, discipline, community, a way to be lived, not just understood. In that silence, a new clarity formed. The path was not only personal liberation, it was collective care. The Buddha began to gather those who were sincere, not perfect, not enlightened, but willing to observe themselves honestly, willing to practice, willing to live simply. These became the first Sangha, a living embodiment of the path, not monks escaping the world, but practitioners learning how to walk within it without being owned by it. They begged for food, slept under trees, followed simple guidelines, not as rules, but as supports for awareness. Still, challenges continued. Some disciples struggled with desire, others with pride. Some missed their old lives. Others clung to the Buddha himself, turning admiration into attachment. He corrected them gently, again and again. Do not cling to me, he said. Cling to understanding. This was perhaps the hardest teaching of all. Letting go even of the teacher, even of the path, even of the idea of awakening. Slowly, the Buddha's presence changed the landscape, not dramatically, not through conquest, but through consistency. People noticed that those who practiced were calmer, less reactive, more compassionate, not removed from life, but deeply present within it. Suspicion softened. Curiosity returned. Some who once mocked him now listened quietly. The resistance did not disappear, but it no longer mattered. The Dharma did not need approval, it only needed practice. And so the Buddha kept walking, village to village, question to question, teaching not as one who knows more, but as one who sees clearly. He understood now that awakening was not the end of difficulty, it was the beginning of responsibility. To speak carefully, to live visibly, to remain human. The path was no longer only inward, it was now fully in the world. As the Buddha continued to teach, his path began to cross something unavoidable. Power, not inner power, but worldly power. Kings, wealthy patrons, influential leaders, men accustomed to being obeyed. Some approached him with curiosity, others with calculation, a few with fear disguised as respect. They had heard of this man who spoke of desire as a chain and craving as a fire, and they wondered what such teachings might do to a kingdom built on ambition. One king invited the Buddha to his court. The hall was filled with luxury, gold, silk, incense, guards standing motionless along the walls. The air itself felt heavy with status. When the Buddha entered, there was no bow, no display, no attempt to impress. He walked as he always did, calm, present, unmoved. The king asked him directly, "What do you gain by abandoning power?" The Buddha did not answer immediately. He looked around the hall, then he spoke softly. "What do you gain by clinging to it?" The question unsettled the room because it was not philosophical, it was personal. The Buddha explained that suffering does not disappear when one reaches the top. It only changes shape. Fear of loss replaces hunger. Anxiety replaces uncertainty. Attachment grows heavier the more one has to protect. Some listened, some resisted. The king did not renounce his throne, but something shifted. He offered protection to the Sangha, not out of submission, but out of respect. This became a pattern. The Buddha did not overthrow systems, he exposed their limits. And those who were wise enough sensed that the Dharma did not threaten order. It clarified it. Not all encounters were peaceful. Some Brahmins challenged him publicly. They accused him of rejecting sacred authority, of undermining ritual, of leading people astray. They demanded answers, proof, debate. The Buddha responded without hostility. He did not attack tradition. He asked simple questions. Does this practice reduce suffering? Does this belief free the mind? When the answers became unclear, the arguments dissolved. Not because he won, but because he refused to fight. Still, criticism spread. He teaches detachment, yet accepts food. He speaks of non-self, yet gathers followers. He claims freedom, yet walks the same roads as beggars. The Buddha heard these words. He did not correct them all. Some misunderstandings were necessary. Teaching could not be forced into clarity. It had to ripen. Like fruit, like insight. Within the Sangha, challenges deepened. As the community grew, differences appeared. Conflicts, doubts, old habits resurfaced. Some wanted stricter rules. Others wanted fewer. Some sought status within the community. Others resented discipline. The Buddha addressed this not by tightening control, but by returning to first principles, awareness, intention, responsibility. He reminded them that the path was not about appearing pure, it was about seeing clearly. Again and again, he redirected attention away from ideology and back to direct experience. One evening, a disciple asked him, "If people reject the teaching, should we stop?" The Buddha smiled gently. "If the river meets a rock, does it turn back?" The Dharma, he explained, was not meant to convince everyone. It was meant to remain available, like water. Those who thirst will find it. Those who do not will walk past. Neither is wrong. Readiness cannot be demanded. Gradually, something remarkable occurred. The very resistance that once threatened the teaching became part of its strength. Those who stayed did so sincerely, not for prestige, not for certainty, but for understanding. The Sangha became resilient, flexible, grounded. The Buddha's presence was no longer just a teacher under a tree. It was a living path moving through the world. He understood now that awakening was not fragile. It did not need protection. It did not collapse under criticism. What was fragile was ego, belief, identity, and so he continued, teaching without attachment to outcome, speaking without needing agreement, living without retreating from difficulty. The world pushed back, and the path held. As years passed, the Buddha began to sense something subtle within himself. Not doubt, not fatigue of the body, but the quiet weight of responsibility. Teaching had never been about convincing others, yet every word spoken now rippled outward. People listened, people followed, people changed their lives, and with that change came dependence, expectation, projection. Some began to see him not as a guide, but as an answer, not as a pointer, but as certainty itself, and this troubled him. One evening after a long day of teaching, the Buddha sat alone. The forest was quiet, the air still. He noticed a familiar sensation arising, not suffering as he once knew it, but the subtle tension of being needed, of being looked to. He observed it carefully. Even compassion, he saw, could become entangled if mixed with identity. Even wisdom could harden if it began to believe itself essential. And so he resolved something deeply important. He would never allow the teaching to depend on him. The next day he spoke to the Sangha, not with solemnity, but with clarity. He told them, "Do not take refuge in me. Take refuge in the Dharma. Test it, question it, live it. If my words do not reduce suffering, let them go." Some were shocked, others confused, but a few understood immediately. The Buddha was not withdrawing, he was removing the last illusion, that liberation could be borrowed. As time went on, the Buddha deliberately stepped back. He allowed others to teach, to make mistakes, to learn. He did not intervene in every conflict. He did not answer every question. Sometimes silence was the teaching. Sometimes letting people struggle was the greatest act of compassion, because clarity that arrives too easily does not last. He also knew something else now, that the Dharma would be misunderstood, simplified, misused, turned into belief systems, turned into identity, and he accepted this. Truth, once released into the world, no longer belongs to its source. It must survive distortion to remain alive. The Buddha did not try to control the future of his teaching. He trusted its core: awareness, direct seeing, non-attachment. Those who truly practiced would always rediscover it. One day a disciple asked him, "What will happen to the path when you are gone?" The Buddha looked at him calmly and replied, "If the path depends on me, it was never the path." The words landed quietly, but their meaning was vast. Liberation was not a lineage, not a memory, not a tradition. It was a living act, renewed moment by those willing to see. As the Buddha continued to walk from place to place, he taught less with explanation and more with presence. How he listened, how he ate, how he responded to anger without reflecting it, how he faced illness without fear. People learned as much from watching him live as from hearing him speak. The Dharma had become embodied, no longer something spoken, something shown, and slowly, almost invisibly, the role of teacher loosened its grip. The Buddha was no longer concerned with how far the teaching would travel, or how long it would last. Those were not his questions anymore. His only concern was whether suffering could end. Here, now, in this moment, for this person. And when it did, even briefly, that was enough. At the end of each day, when silence returned, the Buddha would sit as he always had. No throne, no ceremony, just breath, just awareness, just presence. Awakening had not removed life. It had revealed it, fully, without resistance, without illusion, without holding. And in that simplicity, the teaching remained alive, not because it was preserved, but because it was practiced, again and again, by ordinary people, in ordinary moments, choosing clarity over clinging, Understanding over certainty, freedom over fear. The Buddha had awakened long ago, but now something else had awakened as well. The understanding that teaching is not about shaping others. It is about trusting truth to do its work. And so the path continued, not held, not owned, but open, as it had always been.